From Significant, this is Crack It in an Hour.
Hello, and welcome to Crack It in an Hour, the show where we take a big problem and try to crack it in 1 hour. It is what we say it is. I'm Simon.
I'm Jesse.
And I'm Roman.
And we are the co-founders of Significant. And today, it's my day back in the hosting seat. So I'm going to start the clock. We got an hour. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I started to really think, have we lost a little of the magic? And by that, I mean...
Already?
Have we lost magic? And by that, I mean, how do we bring magic back?
Oh, yeah. I knew it.
So here's the deal, guys. Magic itself. I'm not talking about Magic the Gathering, the card game. I'm talking about magic tricks, performers, magicians, all that stuff is in decline. It's apparently, according to the U.S. magic industry, which I love has seen a downturn with a compound annual growth rate decline of 4% in the last 5 years. So it is actually seriously on the decline. People are way less into magic than they used to be. Reduced revenue, a decreased number of practicing magicians. There's a few things that people point to for this. Specifically, COVID was a big one. Apparently,
magic hit.
Yeah, a big hit to live performance and magic. People are way less into magic than they used to be.
It was not a magical time.
It was not a magical time, and the impact has been really unmagical on magic itself. There's going to be so many puns and play on words.
Yeah,
on this,
I see where this is going.
Yeah. Can I ask you, are either of you fans of magic?
Absolutely, big time.
Are you a fan of magic?
Totally not.
Okay, this is great then. I like it because we're going to have some controversial takes here. This is going to be a fun one. There's some really interesting things I've also found too, which is shifting to digital platforms becoming so popular has actually really hurt magic. Apparently, magic is very much an in-person thing. It does not translate well to all of these digital social media places. And it also creates an unintended consequence of a lot of what's happening with magic is that everything gets debunked really quickly. So there's no longer that fun and joy of kind of like, whoa, how did that happen? It's like very quickly someone's like, well, here's how they did it. And it sort of kills the fun and joy of it all. I can go through a lot of things here. I think, again, there has been magicians who've transitioned to virtual shows, but it's just, again, it's always been a big struggle. I can get into the benefits of magic. I don't know if they're as important, but I mean, there's enhancement of cognitive skills. There's promotion of creativity and divergent thinking, development of social and communication skills, and there's actually therapeutic and educational benefits. But there was a few things I thought were really interesting that I'll dig into after just quickly getting through barriers. A few barriers are overexposure and loss of mystery. And this is part of the fact that, again, the internet has kind of crushed people's ability to just believe in how they do that without going like, no, I'm going to get to the bottom of how exactly they did it. It's perceived a little bit as outdated and childish. The high production costs of the really big shows makes it very tough, like the David Copperfields of the world and stuff like that. But those are the big ones. You know what I mean? It just, guys, it's just not what it once was, unfortunately.
The world of magic as we know it.
Now, go ahead.
I have a
Sorry,
question.
please, Jesse.
Are we talking? Okay, because there's an interesting distinction, and I'm not going to go too far into it right now, but I completely believe that the digital social world sort of killed magic, but it also introduced another type of illusion, shall we say. Like creators like Zach King, I think are pretty much one of the only people that kind of got away with doing magic digitally.
Yeah.
Are we considering that
yes.
magic? Okay,
there's a few of those as well. There's people who are doing things like that, but still just as a general, like if we just got hired by the Magic Board of America.
I could only dream.
And we need to bring magic back. I know you are a sucker for sort of like anthropological and sort of things like that. So I'm going to tell you a few things that I've discovered. Magic thrives in uncertain times. Some of the best times for magic have typically been times where there was giant problems out in the world. For example, the golden age of magic is considered the late 19th and early 20th century. And that was a time of rapid industrialization, war, and urbanization. And magic kind of just gave people a sense of mystery and being comfortable with the unknown when everything else was sort of being decided for them. There was a really interesting period during the 1940s and 60s where they actually used magic a ton in USO performances because they felt that it helped calm people down. And then this is one I hadn't thought about, but I was like, oh, that's interesting. Post 9/11, there was a resurgence in magic in the form of like David Blaine and Cris Angel.
Oh, yeah.
And they were saying again, and it was partially like they weren't as much tada magicians, but there was still this weird, intense mystery sort of matching the cultural vibe of it all right now too. And with that said, on the flip side, magic, the popularity of magic typically declines when logic is in vogue. So when you have times of of rationalism and things like that, it actually kind of creates the opposite effect, which is people are looking for answers and you're intentionally trying to be vague. It messes up the times. The Enlightenment era specifically, magicians had to explicitly say this is not real magic. Otherwise, they might be persecuted. And then lastly,
yeah,
again,
that was a downer.
Yeah, exactly. And then lastly, I'll just get into it really quick. But magic and wonder, according to science says this, appeal to different parts of us. So magic taps into what psychologists call childlike wonder, a desire to experience the impossible and not know how it works. But during rational, high logic periods, that impulse sort of gets shut down or mocked. People are less interested in having that sort of thing. Now there's a flip side to this, which is really interesting, is when people become overwhelmed, overstimulated, or cynical, there's often a rebound effect, a craving for mystery, awe, and surprise. So, how do we bring magic back? Because I think this is an interesting moment in culture to potentially bring magic back.
So let me ask a question. I think in my mind, is almost like I categorize magic into two buckets. There's like David Copperfield, Vegas, entertainment magic. Both of them are entertainment, but big entertainment magic where you see it, you clap your hands and you do wow, and it's great, and you go with your family and woo.
Yeah.
The other one is more problem solving magic. It's more like, and usually that part's in front of you. It's the live experience of like the trick is played in front of you in a way that you think
like
you can
sleight of
see
hand
everything
magic?
In a way that you think you're gonna get it. You're like, hey, yeah, sure, I got it, and then you don't.
Yeah.
And that to me is a different thing.
There's illusion and there's kind of more sleight of hand spectacle type stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But there's also approachability, human like actual contact. Like I think the fact that illusion, I don't know if it's true, likely also went down as a business. Is that like
magic across the board, guys, down 4%.
I know, but anything, like whatever with like tricks, VFX, whatever you want to do, all of this has exploded in the last couple decades. And you can do whatever you want anywhere if you're like just not immediately in front of the thing, of the person.
I think you're speaking to probably one of the big headwinds, right?
Yeah.
Which is like people are no longer awed by the thing they used to be awed by.
Yeah, exactly. But so my question is, do you want to bring back both sorts of magic? Or
yes.
do you, okay. So
like,
you're talking about bringing back magic as a business.
I want magic like everything. Like what I'm talking is the culture of magic being more prevalent in society. Jesse, you're nodding along. You agree.
I want to break the format for 1 second.
Please do.
Roman, why don't you like magic?
I have better ways of getting entertained.
I'm going to need more than that. You've been to a magic show. Have you ever been to the Magic Castle?
No, I want to. We almost went there a couple of weeks ago. If you remember, a month ago. So, like magic, that's what I mean. The first bucket, the illusion thing, to me, I'm like, sure, whatever. You can do whatever, everything with all your VFX and all your special people.
But that's not how they do it.
And your stage that can go up and down without me seeing. Because I'm like, hundreds of yards away or I'm on TV. I'm like, I don't care. I literally don't care. Like,
this is going to be a good episode because I can tell he's got some heat for Magic.
No. I have no interest. I have zero heat. I have no interest for Magic.
But,
like,
okay.
But the part where you have like a very, very good, whatever, trick person, cards, little things, rabbit.
They're called a magician.
A magician, whatever, in front of you, then I'm slightly more interested.
Right.
Because I'm like, okay.
But that's all part of the same thing.
To me, they're different things.
Do you have any experience with a mentalist?
Ooh.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
A type of magician. I assume they consider themselves magicians. I do not wish to offend anybody in the magicians guild.
You do not want to mess up.
But a mentalist is the type of magician that would read your mind. Would, the most basic form is like you write something down on a piece of paper, they never see it and they figure out what it is. That's like their performances are way more elaborate than that. But have you ever seen or experienced that?
No, I've never done it. But is this episode about like promoting tarot reading, or is it about bringing about
that's
business?
not tarot.
That's different.
Okay. Listen,
I like
I'm gonna
this.
say,
This is getting spicy already.
Tarot reading. No, that is completely different. Number one, we are going to the Magic Castle. And then we're going to re-record this episode. And you are if you do not
You're going to be
feel
the biggest
differently, there's something wrong.
I have nothing against it. I'm just indifferent.
Okay.
Go, Jesse. You got stuff to say.
I have a million thoughts.
Yeah.
But I do think there's something very interesting about, like, as you were talking, I was taking some notes. I was thinking like, okay, what's the problem? What's the problem? There are a million issues, I think, over the course of the years. I think at some point Magic sort of got a nerdy reputation, and that I think didn't help. I think David Blaine kind of made it like, it got like sexy again for a second, a little bit. There's all kinds of things, but I think...
Sorry, did you say David Blaine was sexy?
No, I just meant like conceptually. Not my taste. Just conceptually sexy.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to like go deep for a second.
Please do. This is great. I love this conversation right now.
I think as humans, I think at the core of Magic is the concept of trust. And we do not trust people anymore. You have to be somewhat vulnerable as an audience member. You have to be, talk about like the sleight of hand, like close up sort of magic. You're talking about personal space. You're talking about just giving into the moment. At the very heart of the experience between an audience and a magician is the concept of trust. And trust does not exist anymore in our society, in my opinion.
I buy that. Because like to some degree, you have to be okay with knowing you're going to be fooled.
Exactly. You will get played for the fool.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that.
And you don't think, well, like not only trust, but also
vulnerability.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're making it interesting.
Yeah.
Go on.
That's all I have to say.
No, but what we're getting to here is some of the core reasons why it might be not as popular as it was. I have a far more like simple and practical one, which is that like Magic kits aren't something kids play with as much as they used to. And I feel like,
yeah, remember when you would get the 3 rings?
Totally. Yeah. Right. And it's like one of those things that like, inherently, like God knows how many times marketers try to do this. Like you try and hook people on the thing that they kind of knew about as a kid. Right. And so like, to me, it's like the first thing I would try to do is try to make Magic kits cool again.
Yeah. That's interesting. You do have to make it cool with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
as with
I mean?
everything.
Like, is there a way you make a Magic kit that's a little more specific to the video sharing social media generation, where it's instead of like, yeah, you're right. Like the rings thing, it's not going to translate well when you're trying to share a video. Even if you're a kid, even if my kid's doing a trick with his grandfather who lives in a different country, is there a way to actually integrate that so that he's excited about doing it that way or something like that? You know what I mean? I'm just trying to think about different ways to make Magic more appealing at that younger level, such that if you develop it there, that's where you get people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think But the idea, I mean, I could look at that a couple ways because I think one of the great things about kids is that they are that trust that we're talking about, that trust gap, it actually doesn't exist as much for younger kids, like because they're more open.
And they don't care about being fooled.
But that I disagree with because I think that in like the age of anxiety, the idea of being put on the spot, the idea of being tricked, the idea of being recorded, being tricked, and then having your friends see that, I would cry. I would not like that personally.
Right. And
I'm not a kid, but I would not like to be fooled and then have that put on the internet for other people to laugh at.
Well, then, okay. So this is interesting because can I take what you said and pull it into what I said earlier, which is how do you make magic more interesting? If we're talking about kids specifically, how do you make it magic more interesting for kids to participate in a social media world, and also easier to consume and less embarrassing to consume in a social media world? Because I think the safest place to watch a magic trick would probably be, watching it on a screen by yourself rather than like in a room full of people where it's like, oh, he picked your number. You know what I mean? Is that crazy? Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. I have a question. I don't have children.
Okay.
So have you ever hired a magician for any of your children's birthday parties?
I have not. Have you, Roman?
Nope.
See, we're contributing to the problem here.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because we're not contributing. We were just, it's a trend. You talked about it. It's no longer one. It's just like, it's not out there. So I'm not going to book something for my kids if they don't want it.
That's true.
Chicken or the egg, though, I don't know. Maybe there's some cool magicians out there. We got to
I'll say this. Yeah. My daughter, my youngest, she went to a party where there was a magician and my wife went and she was like, this magician had the kids in the palm of his hand.
That's what
I'm saying. They were so psyched. You know what I mean?
There's something really interesting there. I want to come back to this and I want to come back to the idea of trust and kids, but can I go on like another tangent for 1 second? Great. Because I'm not the solving part. I'm at the like going wide part of my brain can't go there yet. But another thing I was thinking about is you talked a lot about the element of surprise and, in times of rational or skepticism, like we're in these different times and that has an effect on people's relationship with magic. And I just keep thinking about how as a society, we don't like to be surprised anymore. And one of the biggest examples of that is the psychology behind people watching comfort shows, like shows that you watch on repeat over and over and over again. I do that. Yes, me too. And the actual psychology behind that is not just because, hey, I love this show and hey, I wanted something playing in the background, but actually you want to watch something where you know exactly what's going to happen next.
In uncertain times, you want certainty.
So there's another angle here. There's like the concept of trust. That's one big component. And then there's the idea of how do you make surprise a good thing again? Because I think in order to bring back magic, you have to almost make people want to crave not magic itself, but the element of surprise.
It's like, what about gender reveal parties? Those are big surprise.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
I'm still trying to figure out what we're trying to solve.
So what we're trying to do is
let me ask.
Go for it.
Because once again, Simon for the win. It brings me back to the aerobics episode. Yeah. It was very clear what we were trying to solve. Mm-hmm. Very clear what the product could be. Tell me what the product is.
Okay, this one, you're right. This is less, let's make a specific aerobics product to take over the world. This one is if we're in charge, like, you know how like the dairy farmers of America have the dairy board? Mm-hmm. We're in charge of the magic board. And we just need to ensure that all our magic metrics are up. Magic interest is up. Performances are increasing. General pop culture awareness of magic and magicians is up. That's the goal. So I admit this is not as concrete as that one, but I'm like, how would we make magic more appealing, a bigger part of the culture and all that sort of stuff? Because I think we need to bring back the magic, guys.
Yeah, I think you need to. There are a few like very like multi-million followers, influencers on Instagram and TikTok. Zach King, Zach King being one of them, Julius
Yep.
Dane,
Shin
Julius
Lim.
Dine,
Yep.
so, it's kind of I think it's a little bit of the sports marketing playbook where these guys are your Cristiano Ronaldos of the world. And you go from there as like aspiration. And so these guys are going to be like your mass media.
I kind of love this idea of applying a sports marketing playbook to Magic.
Shin-Lin is awesome.
Yeah.
You talked about federation. Let's consider it a sport of Magic. So you have these as like top of the pyramid, super aspirational. Through these guys, you're also going to promote products that are accessible to the public, right? So Cristiano Ronaldo wears cleats that I can go buy in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever those games are that are accessible for teens to play between them, to show off at events in front of their friends, in front of their parents. And there's likely a bunch of other things in the middle between like that grassroots product usage thing and the high profile media. But I think you play in that realm.
Let me ask you another question then, because this is getting really exciting. Would you ever create some sort of Magic or Magicians competition? Because then what you could do is you can imagine right there, like God knows FIFA, how many, I think the Club World Cup is starting this year, and basically all the players are like, I'm exhausted, how are we doing this? But they just keep finding ways to build new tournaments to kind of keep growing and making more money. And I think that idea of if you created sort of like the Magic World Championships, you get some money invested and you make it a touring event where maybe like the PGA Tour, maybe like the tennis, you know what I mean? Where it's like every 3 months to start, there's some crazy new thing. People are going. This now I'm starting to get interested in how this could make Magic a lot more interesting.
You have to do a profile of those people and not with David Blaine and Copperfield.
Chris Angel.
No, those guys who are like on the internet making cool shit.
They're the celebrities.
And
they're
so
the
you don't
athletes.
have to, and maybe, I am guessing the world thing of Magic exists. Like I'm completely out of my depths when it comes to Magic.
The World Championships of Magic? I don't know if it does exist.
I don't know. World Championships of everything exists.
I don't know. But there is, have you ever seen, have you ever seen, there's a show. Do you know who Penn and Teller are?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes. No. Okay. Penn and Teller, they're a magician duo and very, very well known. They are spectacular and they're very well respected in the Magic community. I speak as though I'm
You're a member.
You are very pro. You're probably the most pro Magic at the table.
Yeah,
so
did you see this coming?
That at face value.
Show me your card.
Yeah. Okay, but there's a show called Penn and Teller Fool Us. It's actually a great. It's a fantastic show. I could not tell you like what the popularity of that show is, but I know whatever. I watch it. But it's basically they invite magicians in, a lot of like some who have gotten really well known just by doing magic tricks online, and they get to come on stage, perform one trick, and try to, if Penn and Teller can guess what the trick, how the trick was done, and they don't actually reveal it. They use like secret language and code to get the magician.
Did you do the Daisy Garden move? And they're like, yeah.
And it's not even that overt. They'll basically drop a secret word into a sentence that the magician
language.
is like,
I
yeah,
love
you
that.
get it. And so
magician culture is kind of cool.
I'm just saying it's really cool. You should watch Penn and Teller Fool Us. But I think there's even an interesting format there that could become part of the competition culture. Not that you're bringing the, I think there's
like
a lot
the hardest trick to figure out.
Well, not just that. I think there's actually a lot of respect within. It would be like put the greatest new football player in front of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And see what happens. Like the idea of the takedown, the idea of the next generation of magicians. It's kind of an interesting format to me.
Okay, we're getting somewhere here. What we're talking about is, I love the idea of let's steal the sports playbook. We're gonna start. It's gonna be a star system. What we're gonna do is we're gonna need to merchandise and create a star system, build the stars of the current, like the superstars right now. We need to reinforce their stardom. We need to start finding a way to look for the next up and coming stars. And the way we're going to do that is through a competition. a magic competition of some sort, a tournament, this, that, or the other thing. And then with those top stars, we're going to get merchandising rights. We're going to get all sorts of stuff. It's going to become sort of a thing. Because like,
I think the competition is not necessarily your core go-to-market idea, though. I feel like you're creating, I think it's entertainment first. I think it's a show. I mean,
Drive to Survive featuring magicians.
Hell yeah.
The TikTok version. Yeah.
But the TikTok version.
On TikTok.
Because Roman says so.
Sure. If you think you're going to get teenagers, if you think you're going to get teenagers to watch Netflix, a magician show that your parents are going to watch.
Dude, I don't know. There are so many things on Netflix I never thought I was going to get into. You've got the whole
You're
world
not
watching
a teenager.
baking
I'm
shows.
sorry, Jess. You're not a teenager anymore.
Well, I didn't know that we were still only trying to appeal to teenagers.
We're trying to make it mass.
Yeah.
Like Harry Houdini used to do ads. You know what I mean? He was a character. Like it would be kind of cool.
Wouldn't it be crazy
if, it was like,
if the Super Bowl halftime show was actually just a magic
Yeah.
show?
That's what I want to do. That's where we got to get to. We need to get to not just like, do you see the Super Bowl? Oh man, Shin Lim had an awesome halftime, but also like, holy crap. Did you see all the celebrities in the Super Bowl commercials? Yeah, there was like 8 magicians.
Okay, here's another thing that interests me, because I think there's obviously the next generation of magicians being the sports marketing playbook being applied to them, everything we just talked about. But then I start to think about using like the old school product placement strategy, but with magic.
I'm going to make these Camel cigarettes disappear.
I mean, well, that's not, it's not exactly what I was thinking, but I like it. I like it a lot. No, like think about whatever the next version of the Eras tour is, but doesn't have to be Taylor Swift. Insert, those concerts are spectacles.
Yes.
So what if you introduce magic on stage in the middle of the spectacle, not as like a halftime performance, but literally as part of the show, part of what you're watching. It's not just dancers, it's not just lights, but all of a sudden there's like illusions happening live in front of you.
That's interesting. Okay, so here's an interesting thing that my brain started going to with this, which is, what's the name of the woman who does all those wonderful like stages for all the big ones? There was a Netflix documentary. She was a part of it. I forget. Either way, that's a thing, right? People who do big, incredible stages and stuff like that. Harnessing magicians
to build the stage,
to make a crazy stage.
That's cool.
That would be a really great way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we got choreography. We got art, we got design, pyrotechnics, we got magic. We got real magic. Like if Taylor Swift, like she doesn't have to like, again, I'm not saying Taylor Swift has to disappear. But if there was just magic happening around her, that would be really cool.
It would be super cool. It would be amazing.
That's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But I think it could be integrated into other shows. It could be integrated into performances. We could make a pack of Camel cigarettes disappear.
Okay. I don't mean to step all over everyone's conversation, but I'm going to try and recap some things that I think are floating around right now that we see as potential solutions. One is build a bit of a star system and nurture that star system among magicians. One thing that we would do of that is perhaps actually build some sort of regimented competition that would allow us to kind of feature the main stars and then bump up ones and bring the up and comers along, figure out a merchandising strategy among our main stars and try and figure out a way to do it. And then also try and create collaboration options for our star system so that they could actually kind of get involved with stuff. Okay. So we got some ideas here.
Honestly, I think that's the answer. I'm trying to think where else to go. You're so not into magic, Roman.
No, I'm still, there's a million things I don't know. I'm still trying to think what we're trying to solve, like who we're trying to help, like the Magic Federation. Sure.
Okay, there was an entire campaign.
Roman, don't question the client, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like a whole campaign for like 2 years in support of like the egg board of America for like eggs.
100%.
Well,
Jesus,
they need
he
help
gets
right
it.
now.
Like, right? Like there's all that stuff. Like that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, like maybe we're actually, what if I told you the client was Vegas tourism?
Exactly.
And Vegas
Well, then I would be like, okay, the budget is unlimited. So yeah, okay, let's fucking
Okay,
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now can we have
No,
a Drive
but
to
wait.
Survive version instead of a TikTok version?
You guys, Simon said 10 minutes before I said this that we need to start with the kids.
No, I agree.
So I'm trying to follow a certain logic here.
No, we
Jesse.
don't. See, no,
Like-
but we've blown
like-
it open, I think. Like, I mean,
Then
listen,
you
like,
first you go to CAA.
nothing's more inspiring to get kids into soccer than Ronaldo. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, I don't
you
think
go-
anything we're saying
You
is.
go to CAA to merchandise the top 10 magicians on the internet. They're going to put them on old TV commercials, entertainment shows, all that they're going to do cross properties. You're going to get mass exposure to like multiple generations because they can get connected to the right influencers, to the right media. You're going to get like through like everywhere. You're going to be on Netflix. You're going to be in movie theaters. You're going to be at the Super Bowl halftime show. And you're also going to be on TikTok.
Yeah, great.
Your whole magicians get popular. Then you create merchandise. So you find a game, but I'm just repeating what I said like 10 minutes ago. You find some kind of game, and it's probably not a physical game, but I wish it could be. Maybe it is, that the teens want to play. Now, when they hang out, they want to play that thing.
They want to play like the Magic board game, whatever it is.
Hopefully, it's a board game.
Yeah,
but,
no, it'd be something online.
This would be a good one. How do you bring back board games? But like,
I still play board
They
games.
had a big phase.
no, but Jesse, the future is not for people
I
who
thought
are
board games
almost
were
40.
back. We'll talk about it later. Yeah.
No, you go.
Okay.
you go.
No.
I'm
okay.
gonna
So wait.
I'm gonna wait, hold on. Because my question now to myself and all of us is, well, then why haven't they done it yet?
Why haven't they
Because-
done it yet?
Because
I-
there's better business somewhere else.
Okay, no.
I don't know.
If they can make, there are literally competition shows on around gardening.
Mhm.
I'm saying if we've gone that
No.
far,
That's
why
actually a really
haven't-
good point.
Fair enough.
Why haven't we?
If I had told you 15 years ago that one of the most popular reality shows was going to be about drag queens, you would have been like, walk me through how we get there, society.
No, that I
No.
would have believed.
You think
I
so?
would have said,
Gardening.
I would have said, fuck yeah.
I
Yeah,
would have
yeah,
thought
yeah,
it was
yeah.
way too
Yeah.
niche to ever take off the way it did.
I think gardening is like, for me, that is the and there are multiple, literally
tons.
multiple gardening competition shows.
Yeah, yeah. Gardening is a very good example.
So like if I know we're being cheeky about it, but it is interesting to me. How did we get all the way to gardening and skip over magic as an option?
How did we get to gardening? Yeah.
the power of a good idea, you guys.
Yeah, they just haven't thought of it. CAA, are you listening?
Magic. You know what I think it is? I think this is my, I can't prove it, but I think it thing. Being good at magic is really hard and not particularly lucrative. So there's not that many people who do it.
Okay, this is actually that's actually a good point, because I think I probably will get in trouble with the Magicians Guild for this one too, but magic is
Bring it, man. Bring the heat.
I just have no idea. But I'm going to make the assumption that magic is like 20% skill, 80% showmanship.
Oh, I don't know. Oh my gosh.
I reversed that.
Wow.
At 20% showmanship.
No, if you can't.
Sorry, that's what you said. I said 80. I would say 80% showmanship.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. I thought-
20% skill, 80%
Yeah,
showmanship.
100%
No,
agree.
I disagree.
100% agree.
I think being a magician is a lot of skill.
I know I'm being slightly dramatic in my numbers, but my point is, like, you said there are not that many good magicians out there, and I think that many people could learn the skill of magic, but you cannot become a great magician without showmanship, without the ability to work a crowd, to put on a show, to make it a performance.
Yeah, but I mean,
Sure, you
but
can't
like,
know that for a fact. There is no platform for them to be. This is literally the problem you're trying to solve. You can't say there aren't enough magicians. You don't know that.
I didn't say that. I said my
No,
suspicion.
but we don't know that because no one's interested. But there may be a bunch who are like doing magic tricks on Sunday afternoon with their kids, and they're fucking brilliant. You see what I mean? Like,
Shin Lim was legit. Like, they were like, his wife was like, you're really good at that. You should do that. You should go on America's Got Talent. And he was like, nah, I don't think anyone cares. And she's like, just try. And that's how he blew up, because he thought there was no market
AGT.
for it. Yeah. But to your point, the 80-20 thing, like, the thing I push back on is
This is the next level conversation.
No, this is a great
Yes.
conversation. Is that like everything? There's some performance or in some way, shape, or form to everything in life to be successful. And there's some outside the box thinking to everything in life to be successful. It's not simply just about the craft of the thing to be successful. You need to figure out a way to package the craft. That's true for artists, for musicians, for you name it. You know what I mean? Like you can be a very, very, very great guitarist, but if you're not doing anything interesting, it doesn't matter.
I would actually I agree with that, but why I put magic in a different category is because you have to be able to suspend somebody's reality. That's different than just like, oh, I'm listening to incredible music and it's a good show and there's emotion in the artist and I'm feeling all the feelings. Like, yes, showmanship is
so
important.
are you trying to convert your diss into a backhanded compliment, which is that part is actually a really special skill?
Oh, I 100%.
It depends
I
if
think.
you're like David Copperfield and no one can actually see what you're doing.
You really hate David Copperfield.
No, I just think that Vegas type illusionists are bullshit.
But he knows how to do all that other stuff.
But that's the showmanship. That's the 80% showmanship. The guy you're going to bring at a party and is going to have just 5 people around him or her and is going to be doing tricks and no one's really going to understand what's happening. That's skills.
So, okay, let me ask you this. Like you host you host dinner parties and stuff, right?
Every day.
Yeah, you're
I'm a socialite,
You're a
Simon.
socialite. Exactly. Would you ever invite a magician to do those sort of tricks?
Yeah, probably. Like, so back to your point about there aren't enough of them out there. Can you think of one that you've met at a scene at a party in the last 2-3 years?
No.
Well, you left the party early, but that magician was there. Can
Yeah.
you think of a couple?
Well,
Oh,
yeah, I
the
can
one
think
at-
of the
yeah,
one
yeah,
at the
yeah.
Houdini
Yeah, yeah,
estate.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
also, I've been to the Magic Castle many times.
And I haven't been to the Magic Castle, and I was at that party. And I also know another one who's actually even better than that guy. He's an ad guy. If you listen to us, you're going to recognize yourself. He's phenomenal, right?
So you do like magic.
No, I recognize the skill.
Oh God.
The argument is not about whether I like magic or not. Who cares? If people don't care whether
I think
like
the problem we're trying to crack is getting you to like magic.
Make
what
Roman
I'm
like
saying
magic.
is we need to help create a platform for that guy. He left advertising and tried to be a magician. There's just not enough interest in culture. That's what you're saying,
That's what we're
Simon.
trying to do.
That's what we're
Yes.
trying to do.
Yeah.
And so he went back into, and so he's got side gigs. He actually performed at the Magic Castle. He's like that kind of like,
Yeah, he's a good
he's
magician.
a very good one.
Yeah.
Like to be at the Magic Castle, you're like
you got to be
really
good.
vetted,
Yeah,
right?
You got
And
to you got to apply.
so the culture's not there. People are not interested.
So, star system of magic. I think this is.
I think it's it.
I
I
don't
think
mean
it's the
to
sports
be-
marketing playbook.
Yeah, I don't mean to be like. I don't mean to keep coming back. Like I don't know if we've ever done this before. But we're 20 minutes. We have 20 minutes left, and I feel like in a weird way we've kind of cracked it.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, take the sports marketing model, start a star system, start tournaments, start building like actual like, and then
Content.
like content from that tournaments would fall out without a problem.
I don't think I'm going to just
reiterate.
reiterate it. I don't think tournaments have to be the center of it. I
No.
think it's a part
No,
of
no,
it.
no, no.
I think it's content driven.
To me, I think the tournaments allow you to show off the top people, but then B, start to build that farm system of the up and comers. Like
I think about it more as like a television competition show. I think you could get into tournaments in the way there are esports tournaments.
Yes.
I think you could like all of that. You just literally every component of that playbook could be replicated in this.
Yeah. The esports sports playbook.
There's this thing that's literally blowing my mind is how certain entertainment verticals go and create their own media platform as opposed to leveraging existing ones and do it very successfully.
Yeah.
So like vertical maybe is not the right term, whatever. You'll get what I mean. Like, did you hear of like all those mini soap like shows, like basically apps dedicated to soaps? Like
No.
16, 20, 25 episodes. They get you to pay after you're hooked. And they make hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue.
Their
Are they in the
specific
US?
apps.
Yeah, they're Chinese initially, but now they're in the US. They're apps. So it's an app that's going to just give you content that's going to be like short form, mid form soap. Not like 45 minutes, but a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then hook. Oh, you want to see the next one? Now you got to have to pay. And I wonder, it's a bit of a tangent, but I wonder if do you need to go and create your own magician related type series on a separate media? I'm like, it always blows my mind when people manage to create separate media when you have TikTok, and that's exactly what some other people are doing. I'm like, kudos. I don't know how you drove that.
I think it's a little bit different
with anything, but my question obviously is with magic.
I don't think you could do it with magic because the barrier to entry is too low. The problem you see. I'm sorry, Jesse. Please, you go first.
No, I think what's interesting about soap operas or things like that is they have the hook baked into it.
Yeah,
like there's the psychological like reality TV obsession. Like I think that we've reached like a fever pitch on that kind of stuff that I think the separate app could work. I don't know what the hook would be, but it's not. I don't have an answer.
No, I don't think you can do it.
You just cut before you show the reveal of the illusion thing.
Right now,
no, I don't think that would work. That makes no sense.
I think that would piss people off. They're like, and the card is spend $3.99 to subscribe.
I don't care enough about the magician being right. I'm going to say no on that one.
I mean, it's a crooked lawyer business, you guys.
I would not invest in that app.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think you could ever build a competition that was a trick off?
Tell me more.
Okay, so like you go 10 rounds. Each round, magician versus magician. First trick, whoever gets the better trick wins that round.
So like a dance battle.
Yeah, like a dance battle. Because like to me, if you were like, yo, guess what? David Copperfield versus Shin Lim in a trick off 10 rounds. I'd be like, okay, that's really interesting.
Up the ante
yeah,
on
that's
that.
Cool.
Also, what if like
we have to work on the name.
Yeah, it's pretty.
We have to work on the name.
Working title. Think about like in like rap battles, for example.
That's how Eminem got there.
Yeah, that's good. But think about what's sort of interesting about that is in theory, you cannot prepare coming in. You're just given a word.
Oh.
So imagine that, because if part of the thing is
really cool.
If part of the thing is that people don't believe that it's quote unquote real. They think that there's just like, it's all fake, it's all pre-planned, it's all whatever. If you come in and there's just a deck of cards on the table, or there's nothing, or you're given a prop you weren't. If in the trick off, let's say this, in the trick off, there's a bag in the middle and you have to pull something out, and whatever you pull out, you have to do a trick with. So that way it's like really forcing a level of skill and surprise. Could be interesting.
That's strong belief in skills. But I love it.
Well, my 2080 theory, it doesn't really pan out. But
I know. If you think it's just a 2080, you're like, where did the spoon go? And it drops from his hand. No, I think that would be really cool. This is the thing about magic for me, which is like, I can't speak for you two, but my experience with like magic content, like TV and videos and stuff like that, is I do not ever seek it out, ever. But if it's on, I stop and watch. And there's something about that, right? That I'm like, okay, like I kind of find it captivating. I kind of go, whoa, how'd they do that? You know what I mean? Like I do all that stuff. So clearly it's a little bit of an awareness issue that I'm just not seeking it out or interested in it.
Totally. I think the fandom needs to have a fire lit under it. But all I know is I have 2 missions this year. One to run a successful company. 2, take you guys to the Magic Castle.
I've been. I love it.
You have been?
Have I never told you the story?
Oh boy.
Okay, I can't tell it on this podcast, but I'll tell you guys the story later on.
And that's where the episode, and for $3.99,
exactly.
subscribe to this app. And, you
And
can
I will
hear
tell you the story. No, going back to that thing though, I think because it's an awareness problem, you couldn't do the app thing. I think that's where, like, for example, like when the NHL said, ESPN, we don't need you. We're going to go our own way. Everyone stopped watching hockey.
I know, but that's why I'm blown away by those who managed to do it.
Yeah.
You can do everything on things that are available. So anyway, no, but it's true. Like literally TikTok is meant for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like to do like quick snippets of entertainment.
Yeah, totally. Okay, guys.
We fix magic.
I got to ask, because we have 15 minutes left and I'm more than happy to talk about it.
I think we should watch some episodes of Penn and Teller.
But I'm going to ask, have we already cracked how we make magic popular?
I don't know.
Oh, do you want to keep talking?
I always like to talk, we can keep talking. I mean, it's an entertainment vertical, so that's why I think we went to where we went. But I don't know that it's going to fix everything. I think there's a bigger cultural misconception, we talked sports marketing, it's a bit of entertainment too. Like we didn't talk at all about the why. We just surface leveled times of uncertainty and everything. But you see what I mean? Like you have to.
There's a cultural push right now that's
I don't know, but
magic
you have
unpopular?
to beat everything else, right? Yeah, like everything else, including gardening now,
which is crazy. How are you losing to gardening?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, obviously, I walked into this episode a fan of magic, so I'm disappointed to hear that it's in the decline. But I don't know. I could also make the argument that sometimes you don't have to go deep to solve something.
So yes, I agree. But then let me ask another question. The thing about gardening and baking, which I think share a lot of similarities, is that it's kind of never ending.
I have another part of it too.
The creativity that's required, the DIY app, the curiosity, it's ongoing. You can discover new things every time.
Could I give you another one
like
too?
Baking shows have been around for decades, been exploding in the last decade, like through all kinds of like fucking facets. Like the one that fascinates me the most, that I think you guys exposed me to last year, was like, is it a cake or is it
cake?
Is it cake? Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like I watched one episode with you, I think in the office. I was like, what the actual fuck? This is amazing.
It's a great show.
So it went all the way there. But it's just that the creativity is never ending in cooking and baking and even gardening. When you're not a magician, well, I guess two things. First of all, is it the same with magic? Question. I don't know. Second of all, it's not as accessible, I think.
That's the biggest part.
That's
the biggest
viewer,
part.
Right?
Everyone to some degree, sorry, I shouldn't say everyone. A huge population of people to some degree bake and garden.
Or can do it.
It's
right there.
Or you know what the other one too, which is interesting? Oh, there's a giant group of people who bake and garden poorly. So they can go, wow, that's really hard. I couldn't do that. And there's enjoyment in watching There's enjoyment in watching people who are better at you at that thing. You understand how hard it is to do. Magic is completely off the radar for most people.
Sorry, just before you go in, and to double down on this, sports is the same. Most people have access to physical activities. So they can relate to the performance that they see, right?
I would make the argument.
The relatability with magic is different. It's literally just a show.
This is interesting.
And so I think that's a bigger barrier. And I think that's why gardening is big and magic probably isn't. So
I 100% agree. But for the sake of conversation, I'm going to introduce a counterpoint, which is I know that I've seen the comment a million times over on social. Somebody makes the joke like, they're watching a baking show and they're like, oh, why the hell would you ever do blank, blank, blank? I say as I'm sitting on my couch eating a bag of Doritos. Like, I do think it's actually a very common practice I live in the middle of a city in an apartment that has absolutely zero green space, but I'm watching a gardening show and criticizing the work.
Yeah.
After 3 episodes in, you fancy yourself an expert. That's why we also sideline coach sports game,
Yeah.
So you could also say there's a little bit of there's just like a fantasy with people to become sideline experts on something. Like I could even make the argument that now we enjoy less putting the effort in to become the expert, and we enjoy more criticizing the people who have.
But that's exactly my point. It's very hard to criticize magic. You literally start
it's a good point.
the gap is too wide. You have no idea.
Yeah, it'd be like a reality show about quantum physics. You'd be like, I don't know what I don't know why that was better
That's
than that
interesting.
one.
I watched it once.
I guarantee that like if somebody made a hybrid magic dating show, there would be
What?
So let's keep talking.
Pitch
Let's keep
that
talking.
one.
Like cross culture things.
because I think you're right. I think it might need, in order for magic itself to get back up in culture, it might need a little bit of power from something that people already have a little bit of affinity for, in terms of the engagement behavior that you're talking about.
But I want to more specifically talk about what is this show?
Magic dating.
So is it like 10 magicians and they pair off, and
okay,
you could call it Is There Magic?
All I'm gonna say, oh shit, that's
and it's
good.
all about magicians
Where's
falling
magic?
in love through magic tricks.
Oh my God.
Guys.
Like it's like Love is Blind, but
know-
instead they can only see the trick and decide whether they're going to fall in love with the person
I know
who made
Roman
that
was
trick.
skeptical of who the client was coming into this episode, but I think that's a really big idea.
Is there magic?
Is there magic?
So tell me more, Jesse.
Well,
Dating
okay.
meets magic.
I mean, look, all I know is when I like the fact that Deal or No Deal Island exists, which is basically a combination of Deal or No Deal, Love Island, Road Rules Challenge, all smashed into like one show. I'm like pretty sure you can just make anything. So I don't know. You take 10 magicians, you stick them on an island, but then you introduce like 3 more, like, I don't know, maybe, never mind. I'm not going to say what I was about to say. But.
See, okay, there's 2 different ways you could do Is There Magic. One is you could make it a dating show. The other way to do it is you could make it like a survival, but all the challenges are magic related.
Yes.
So it's like last one to make this egg disappear is cut from the island.
Yes,
it's cut from Magic Island.
The one thing I know about all those shows is even if you didn't make it a dating show, someone's going to end up sleeping with someone. And that's also going to drive the online conversation. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Cross culture. Magic tank.
Roman seems really excited about watching this show.
Okay, Is There Magic it's really good. I'd watch it.
It's interesting. I mean, Cheer got really popular for a while. Like there's other things that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's other parts of culture that got really popular at certain moments. But I know what I want to go back to what you said, because I think it is an important thing, which is like the barrier for the normal person's ability to understand that world probably does make it a little bit harder to get invested in. So
I think you need to find a way somewhere in the middle between the pro and the viewer to give a bit of access.
Yeah. So does that mean you need to, well, I mean, this actually weirdly goes back to the original problem, which is you need to have more people participating in magic to begin with, to at least like, to your point about like, I'm just going to steal the sports metaphor for a second, which is like, I think a lot of the sports that you end up watching later on in life are the ones you played and weren't good enough at when you were younger, right? Like that's just kind of how it is. And so
it's a very French pessimistic view of it, but yeah,
from a Canadian, but that is it, right? Which is like, oh, I loved soccer, I fell in love with it, and now I really understand how good those players are. So
that's the better view.
You know what I mean?
You are hooked and you understand what it takes.
Yeah.
Or maybe you don't.
Yeah.
There's like an awe.
There's an awe at what they can pull off.
You tried and it was accessible for you to try.
And magic right now, to the point that I said at the very start, kids aren't playing with magic enough.
I have a new idea. It's a show called The Magic Academy, where you basically send like, I don't know, what, 12-year-olds? 10-year-olds?
Just randos.
Kids?
Yeah.
Send your kids.
You feel very uncomfortable talking about children,
I just don't know. just don't know at what age it's appropriate to send your kids off to be on reality TV, but I'm guessing somewhere between like 11, 12, 13.
I mean, it looks like some fifth graders were on TV for a
Yeah.
while.
Oh, yeah. I was
Yeah.
smarter than a fifth grader. That was wild.
Yeah, but they weren't sent off to an academy. They got to go home at night.
Yeah, but this would be really wild if like... No?
No, Jesse. Maybe you go home at night. All right, let's keep going. Yeah.
Okay, well, the Magic Academy, you know, and it's intense.
It's like the police academy.
Yeah. I mean, it could, I think, okay, obviously, I don't know the rules around children, but I just think it could be.
Changing the subject for a second.
Send your kids to Aunt
Let's
Jessie's
move
camp.
on. Let's move on from this. I think in a weird...
It's hardcore. You're not allowed to go home. You're going to learn this fucking magic trick or you're not getting dinner. It could be cool.
Okay. I'm going to go full circle.
Please, for the love of God.
I think the reason we got excited about the sports marketing playbook is that it does inherently contribute to children getting more excited about it, which leads to more interest in it, which leads to the sports, the athletes, all those people becoming more popular, more famous, creating a halo effect of just interest in magic.
High profile aspiration and grassroots and everything in between.
And so what you do is you use these athletes, magicians. We're
going to make it a sport.
We're going to use, we're going to, I'm very curious actually about, because you're right, like magicians culture is really deep and interesting. I wonder if they're like anti-competition or something.
No, I would be shocked. I mean, Fool Us is like a coveted, like, I mean, you could consider that a competition because it's anybody who fools Penn and Teller gets a little like trophy and you feel like you're part of a club of the few magicians that got to actually fool them. So I would be surprised if competition wasn't part of it.
But this idea of we need to build some sort of merchandising around our top people in order to sell magic kits to the kids, build out that entire infrastructure. I'm going to say because to your point, the bigger problem that we're trying to solve right now isn't people are exposed to it. There's a barrier to understanding what these people are actually doing that makes it tougher to relate to.
Yeah, so I think that's where the grassroots component comes in, but also the cross culture, like whether it's dating shows, whether it's a children's academy.
Can we just stop talking about children on this podcast for a little while?
But I think if you sort of do a cultural mashup, for lack of a better term, to help introduce some of the relatability to the culture of magic, I think that could help.
How are you feeling, Roman? Are you convinced we can do it?
Are we wrapping?
No, we aren't. We still got 2 minutes, actually.
I want to go on a road trip in the heartland to see if there's any interest in that subject. And that will sway me yes or no versus there's an opportunity there.
See, if you like, it's one of those things that, again, like if you went up to people and you said, hey, do you like magic? They're going to probably be like, not really. But if you said, want to see a magic trick? I bet most people want to see a magic trick.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably.
So skeptical.
No.
Wait till you go to the Magic Castle.
No. I'm thinking about our whole conversation for the last 57, 58 minutes. I think maybe we're getting there, but I came into this conversation. I'm completely out of my depth here. So I'm just like riffing on things that I literally don't know. There may be a massive business developing in magic right now that I'm not aware of.
Like the live golf of magic.
There may be all the type of contents that we're talking about. There may be deals in the making with all those like multi-million follower influencers that is currently happening. I have no idea, but it's entertainment. I think there's a space for it. Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah,
I do too.
I don't know if we cracked it. I think there's a space for it.
So we're bullish on the potential of magic.
Yeah.
But we need to like, hey, listen, you guys need to go back and think a little bit deeper about the playbook to making it popular.
Sure. I mean, I'm Magic's #1 fan, but absolutely.
Do you know any magic tricks?
I used to know one.
Really?
I used to know one, yeah. But I haven't done it in like 10 years. I don't think I could. It was a card trick.
There
Really?
you go. The problem right there.
Yeah.
You've lost
the magic.
You've lost the magic. Okay, there it is.
All right.
There it is.
Wrap it up.
It's been an hour. I'm going to ask you both a question. Did we crack it?
I'm excited.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
That is the most non-answer from Jesse, because you could say anything, you'd be like, I'm excited. I don't think we did, but I think it's an interesting topic, and I think it has potential and space for in modern cultures.
I'm going to say we're close. I'm not going to say we cracked it. I'm going to say we're close. I think we got something here. I think we're starting to tiptoe. I think to your point, I intentionally wanted this one because I had a feeling we were all quite ignorant of it. And we would definitely need to do a little research. Like, I love the conversation cold, but like, I bet you if there is a magician listening to this, he's screaming into his phone right now
100%.
about all the things we don't know about the reality of magic. But to your point, it's entertainment. And there's always something about entertainment, right? So,
I mean, if you're that magician who's like extremely frustrated at this conversation, send us your ideas.
yeah. Reach out. And if you have any questions or thoughts at all, don't hesitate to reach out. Shoot us an email at hello@crackitpodcast.com. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you really, really, really love us, please go and rate us or favorite us or just tell a friend all about how cool we are so that they should listen too. Jesse, Roman, anything else to say before we end the episode?
No. I'm ready for some magic.
Let's go.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time on Crack It in an Hour. Bye.